justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. When do we want it? Now. When do we want it? Now. Call the person next to you and let them know that you're glad that you're in Africa.
I hear y'all. Glad something, brother. Yes, glad.
Welcome to the
I'm going to give you the key to the town. Go ahead.
Thank you, Brother Phil.
All right.
Welcome to the Slave Theater South. Let me say that certainly I am glad to be back in Philadelphia once again, and to be returning to the same venue that I spoke at last time. Of course, I didn't recall how long I spoke, but some of the brother reminded me it was 5 hours. I don't plan to rival that today. But in any event, it was certainly a great time down here, and we really enjoyed the discussion. Today, I want to thank ASCAP for the invitation, and certainly any time that our people can come together anywhere to deal with serious issues. We know that the enemy is somewhere trembling. Certainly they know that we are here, and I'm not Reverend Hoop and Holler, and we're not pledging pie in the sky or selling prayer cloths today. First, let me ask those members of the United African Movement and those of us who are from New York to please stand so that those from Philadelphia know that we put our money where our mouth is. That's all that were able to get on the bus. That some are still standing on Fulton Street. But we'll make sure that they get down here the next time to Philadelphia. Let me say also that many of you from Philly are not any strangers to us, and we've always been blessed with your presence on a weekly basis. In New York City. There are a lot of faces here. If I start calling names, we'll be here quite a while. But we're always pleased to have our brothers and sisters from Philly, and I don't think there's a week that goes by when representatives of Philadelphia are not at the Slave Theater. Also, we are very blessed now to have people that are coming from Delaware to the Slave Theater on Wednesday. So that's very heartening. So I think the message is getting out in terms of us, but certainly we want to be able to do all that we can anywhere, because where any of our people have a problem, all of us have a problem. The subject tonight, critical thinking and analysis, is one that I think that is extremely important for us as a people. I think that many times we assume that people are engaging in critical thinking and analysis. Brother Dale Jones, let's give him a...
How you doing?
Certainly, a lot of us assume many times that we are in fact engaged in critical thinking and analysis. And one of the persons who I heard began to really emphasize this, and I had to begin to take note of it in his personal conversation with me, as well as my listening to him on his broadcast. And I know many of you in Philadelphia also stay up in the midnight hour to catch the voice of Bob Law. from 12 to 5 in the early morning. And certainly one of the things that Bob constantly talks about is critical thinking and analysis. And Bob, being a talk show host, certainly get an opportunity really to see the level of our thinking and our analytical skills. And as many of you know, Bob does not hold back his tongue. He does a little tongue whipping while he's on the broadcast, but we all take it because we know that Bob is sincere and is for real, and that he really cares a lot about us. But in my beginning to look at this particular topic, I certainly want to begin to think about what may be the problem. And I really want to share with you something that I think that will open up tonight how we can really look at the problem and how we can really attempt to try to resolve it, that of critical thinking and analysis. And I think that if most of us would basically assume that anybody had the ability to do some critical thinking and analysis, it would be lawyers. Certainly, lawyers would like for you to believe that. They would like for you to believe that for the $400 or $500 an hour that you're paying them, that you have some real mental heavyweights representing you. But around 1976, I was working at Legal Services in Harlem. And when I first went to Harlem, the office was all white. And that was a cultural shock for me because I had just come from Georgia. I had all of these mental pictures of Harlem in my mind, and I certainly did not have a picture of white folks dominating a legal services office. So just my mental perception of Harlem and my seeing this actuality came in conflict with each other. And so when I got there, I was hired. The director was black, but nobody else was black as far as the staff, about 20 white lawyers there. And I just felt a little bit uncomfortable. I just felt as though that our movement should be led by black people. I could not understand why these white folks were there. Some people may say, well, you know, you are racist. And I plead guilty. Because I believe in the race. And that's what being a racist is all about. There's a difference between being ethnic and being racist. Most of us are ethnic. Most of us come together because of our common experiences. But those of us who are racist use race as a weapon, which is a big difference. Because when you're out here in the wilderness in North America or anywhere else, you're in an environment where you must use some weapon to at least defend yourself. And so race has to be more than just some ethnic identity talking about our common oppression, but it must be some weapon that we must use to obtain our liberation. That's right. And so in that sense, I went to work. I told some of the secretaries who was there that in a short period of time, this office would be all black. Everybody looked at me like I was nuts. And I remember some of the secretaries saying, well, you know, Mr. Maddox, we know you just got here from Georgia. You just got off the boat. So we can understand that you're not too swift. And, you know, we sort of ignore some of this wild talk that you engaged in. But in any event, over a period of 2 years, and this is a true story, documented in many places, even been written about by white folks. In 2 years, an office of 20 whites had been reduced to only 1 white. In 2 years. And I was busy day and night. During the day I was in court, but at the night I was checking their files out. And just like white folks do us. So I was checking their files out and putting out all of the malpractice cases, which was not hard to do. in the black community because we are always the victims of legal and medical malpractice.
That's right.
Every other form of malpractice. So it wasn't hard for me to pull out all these malpractice cases. And I documented all of it. And after documenting it, I presented it to the authorities. And at that particular time, the black or the Negro Bar Association, they're in Harlem, appointed themselves to try to get rid of me. So they said I was causing problems. Now, you know, and this is rather strange because one of the problems we have is what is the purpose of professional organization? I mean, if you have a professional organization of blacks, it would seem as though that the purpose would be to get other blacks gainfully employed.
That's right.
And it would seem as though that I was helping in that respect. But the truth of the matter is they felt offended because that was not their purpose. Because their purpose was to get close to their slave master.
Yeah.
By using the community to do that.
Yeah.
All right? Which is really what happens in our community. The best way to get close to white folks is to use black folks.
Yeah.
And get the attention of white folks and then get their crumbs later on. So that's always the game. A brother that's down with the community today is with whitey tomorrow. Okay? Because his interest all along was to be with white. Right? We just didn't figure it out. You know, because we were taking it seriously. So in that respect, they brought a grievance against me and I had to fight that off. And after successfully fighting that off, I came into the office one day, and by this time, we had 20 black lawyers, and maybe Negro lawyers, after I tell you this story. And so, they came and said, Alton, we want to have a meeting with you. Now, remember, none of these people were there when I got there. And I was diligently working to get them in there. They said, you know, you got to lead the organization. I said, oh, yeah? I said, well, you know, I was here first. They said, yeah, we understand that, but we don't want your kind around here. And I said, well, what is the problem, brothers and sisters? Seriously. And they said, well, you don't like white people. And I said, well, how did you figure that out? They said, well, you got rid of all of them. I said, well, did it ever come to your mind that you wouldn't be here if I hadn't gotten rid of white people? I mean, you know, have you ever formed a thought, realized over 2 years that I was here laboring by myself to see the day when this office was all black? And they said, well, we don't want to hear that race stuff. We want you out of here. That was a Friday. I got a certified letter Saturday morning telling me that my services at Harlem Legal Services were no longer needed and that if I came anywhere near the premises, I was going to be arrested. And Monday morning, they had a security guard in front of the place waiting for me to arrive. All right? Now, I say all of that because lawyers are supposed to have the ability to think and to reason and to analyze. And for 20 black lawyers to be unable to understand why they were being employed raises some serious questions about our ability to think. Because you're dealing with individuals who've done 4 years of undergraduate and then have gotten into law school and done legal reasoning and all of that and supposed to be able to deal with problems. And yet they cannot deal with their problems. And part of that reason is that white folks do not teach you in law school or anywhere else to deal with your problems.
Thank you.
That's right.
They teach you to deal with their problems.
That's right.
And so that's the reason why when you bring a class of MBAs out of Wharton, one of the greatest business schools, they can't open a mom and pop store in West Philly because they are not taught how to deal with the problems of the black community. Secondly, there are 4 basic relationships that all people have with white folks in this country in terms of employment. There are 4 basic relationships. One is the independent contractor. The second is the partnership. Third is the principal agent. And the fourth is the master servant.
That's right.
All right?
That's right.
All right. Those are the 4 relationships that people have in this country with white folks. All right? However, there are only 2 of those ever applies to black people. And that's the agent or the servant.
Yeah, that's right.
There is no black in America, including Colin Powell, who has risen above this line.
Thank you.
Nor can you rise above that line. Either the principal agent or the master servant, a euphemism for slave or enslaved person. All right?
Yeah,
all right? Those are the 4 basic relationships. Now, because this is all tied together, one of the real problems in our community is calling things by their wrong name.
Thank you.
One of the great sayings of Confucius is that the beginning of wisdom is calling things by their right name. The beginning of wisdom is calling things by their right name. Now, this is important for this reason. Malcolm would describe these 2 relationships as the house Negro and the field Negro.
That's right. Yes.
All right?
That's right.
All right?
That's
right. If Malcolm was here, he would describe these as the field Negro and the house Negro.
Yeah.
All right? Those have always been the only 2 relationships that we've ever had with white folks.
That's right.
All right? Now they're called agents.
Yeah.
All right? And servants.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But it's still the same thing.
Same thing.
Okay? It's still the same thing. Now they're called agents or servants, but they're still the same thing. They're house Negroes and field Negroes.
Yeah.
All right. Now, these 2 right here are only ones that are enjoyed by white people.
That's right.
I don't care if a Negro is in business for himself, he's not an independent contractor. All right? And there's no such thing as a partnership with white people. All right? All right? There's no such thing as that. So we have, this is the height of it. Now, going back to these 2, and remembering that we're talking about language now as well, because we're talking about the things about critical thinking and analysis. All right, and we're talking about why we have been unable to engage in it. All right, the agent the agent's responsibility, always, by law, an agent's responsibility is to collect information. All right, by law. An agent has to be loyal and obedient to his principal. All right? He has to give an accounting to his principal. All right? And he has to not reveal, not keep any secrets from his master. All right? Now, you call your leaders leaders, but your leaders in your community are really what are called
Double agents.
That's right.
okay? All right? That's your leadership. The people that you elect to office, the people that you put in office, that you call leaders, are actually double agents. Okay? Because they appear to be working on your behalf,
Yes.
but they are in fact working on white
his-
folks' behalf.
Right.
All right? That's a double agent. All right? Case in point. Now, understand that I'm not singling you out because I have any particular vindictiveness for them.
Go ahead.
But I'm only citing them as an example.
Exposure. Pull it coat now. Let me do it.
Vernon Jordan.
Go ahead.
Vernon Jordan is the most dangerous Negro in America. All right? The most dangerous Negro in America because of his affiliation. He's affiliated with organizations that no blacks could even get near. The Bohemian Club, the Bilderberg Conference, the Trilateral Commission, all of these operations he's involved in. And so when Clinton came in office, Wild Bill by some characterization, when Clinton came in office, made Vernon Jordan the transition leader, black people started saying there are good times in America again.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right?
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right? Because our people does not understand the concept of a double agent.
Yeah.
All right? Do not understand that concept. These things are very simple. A few weeks ago, a brother spoke at the Slave Theater by the name of Captain Yusuf Shaw. Many of you may know Captain Yusuf Shaw. Captain Yusuf Shaw was the East Coast head of the Fruit of Islam during the days of Malcolm X.
Yeah.
All right? Now,
Yeah.
one of the things that he said, which is very critical, but he was quoting Elijah Muhammad. He said that Mr. Muhammad said that there was three things that the black man would never be taught by white people. Business science, or the science of business, military science, and how to mate. Those three things that our people would never be taught. Business science, military science, and how to mate. Never be taught those three things. That's important because when we begin to look at concepts like double agents, that is a military term.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay? That is a military term. All right? The key to that is that in order for us to understand white people, we have to understand military science. In order for us to understand white people. In order for us to understand what is happening with Clinton and Ron Brown and Jocelyn Elders and this guy, all of these people that he has appointed to the cabinet, military science said there's two things that military people must do. They must first engage in deception, and they must engage in surprise. All right? All right? two things that must be done is deception and surprise. All right? That is what is going on in Washington today. Deception and surprise. All right? However, Calvin Coolidge some time ago made one other important point, because these things have to be remembered. Have to be remembered. You know, whenever you are trying to resolve a problem, you can't be floating all over the place. You know where some people are. You know, one day people floating here, next day they're floating there, because they are not grounded. All right. You have to really know your environment and the people in the environment, and you have to reduce to certain basic principles that will clearly explain what is taking place. Calvin Coolidge said, "The business of America is business."
That's right.
All right?
Yeah.
The business of America is business.
Yeah.
Okay? Now that's important. That is important for us to begin to understand where we are headed. Now, the reality of it is that black people in America are not permitted to think critically and analytically. And if they catch you thinking critically and analytically, they're going to deal with that.
Yeah.
Okay? They're going to deal with that. Now let's go back as to why you cannot think critically and analytically. Many of you remember what happened to Dr. Leonard Jeffries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Similarly to Dr. Jeffries was a Dr. Levin. Dr. Levin has not lost anything. All right? Dr. Levin said that we are racially inferior. And Dr. Jeffries said, well, we are the Sun people. The First Amendment protected Dr. Levin, but it did not protect Dr. Jeffries.
Yeah.
All right? Now, if you ask most people why, what would be the answer?
Racial.
Most people say race, right?
Racist.
Okay. Okay. That is, however, not the primary reason. Racism is not the primary reason. The primary reason why Levin was protected and Jeffries was not is because the First Amendment only protects falsehoods.
Thanks. Teach, brother. Teach. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
The First Amendment only protects falsehoods.
Yeah.
All right? When I was in law school, I remember the professor was getting class and they would say, yes, the Constitution is the greatest document that man has ever drafted. Many of you probably heard that.
Yeah, yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Greatest document that man has ever drafted.
Yes, it was.
And Negroes say, yes, this is a great document.
Yeah.
Even though in that document they made us the natural enemies, the white people.
Yeah.
All right? But Negroes say, yes, this is a great document.
Yeah.
All right? Obviously, no thinking going on.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
All right. However, they said of all of the provisions in the Constitution, the most precious provision in the Constitution is the First Amendment. All right? All right? And the question becomes, the question I asked then was, why is this an important provision of the Constitution? Why is this the most important provision of the Constitution? Why is the First Amendment the most important provision? And I came to the conclusion that the First Amendment is the most important provision of the Constitution because the First Amendment promotes falsehoods. Okay? You have the right to speak freely as long as you're speaking falsely.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And when you get some people that start speaking falsely, like you get Reverend Hoop and Holler in the church, speaking falsely to his congregation, and then they start speaking falsely to somebody else, then you got a problem on your hands. All right? Because there can be no critical thinking if everybody engages in fallacies.
Yeah, that's right.
All right? There can be no positive reasoning if you're using fallacious thought processes to come at your conclusions. All right? All right? You can't do it. All right? So the First Amendment was set up to deal with fallacies. Okay? Because white people deal in fallacies. Okay? You know, people ask me, they say, well, do you think the white man's a devil? And I said, well, I don't know if the white man's a devil or not. But he certainly acting like the devil. All right? All right? All right? I don't know if it's the devil or not, but he certainly acts like the devil. All right? All right? Okay? All right? And then, growing up in Georgia, I remember going to church every day, every Sunday. And you know, they would always give you this picture of the devil with his tail and the pitchfork.
Pitchfork. Yeah.
Telling you that if you do wrong, you're going to hell, and you're going to burn for the rest of your life. Well, if there is a hell, we must be in it right now. All right? This must be it. Now, why we're in hell, I don't know. I don't know whether we were banned in some other world or something. All right? All right, I don't know what the deal is, all right? All right? But certainly there's a hell we're living in. Why we got here? All right? Okay? Why we got here, I don't know yet. I'm still working on that. All right? But certainly that's what we're dealing with. Now, when you begin to realize that the people that wrote the Constitution practiced Satanism.
Yes, it did.
Okay? When you begin to understand that, then it becomes very clear that they would say, yes, the First Amendment has to be the most important because we got to promote lies.
Yeah, that's right.
All right?
Yeah.
Because if the truth shall set you free, then lies must keep you in bondage. That's the flip side of it, right? I mean, you believe the Bible says the truth will set you free. That means that in order to stay in bondage, you got to have lies. All right? So in order to keep us enslaved, all right, you got to deal with falsehoods. Okay? The second point was, what was interesting is the religious provision. And so people said, well, they got you there, Maddox, because separating church and state, freedom of religion. However, what better way to divide and conquer people if Satan is sitting high and telling you that you can practice 10,000 different religions? Because the more time that you divide up into your gods, the more you're going to be each other's throat.
Yeah, that's right. That's
all right? And the only person that's not affected by this is Satan.
Yeah, that's right.
Because Satan don't believe in none of the gods.
No, he's the God.
All right?
Yeah.
All right. The only person that gets away with this is Satan. Or somebody's acting like Satan. Or somebody's practicing Satanism. All right? All right? To tell you can practice all these different religions. All right?
Yeah.
Then that becomes obvious. So, therefore, this is the most precious provision of the Constitution. All right? The First Amendment is. Because we have bound ourselves by this provision. Now, people say, well, Columbus was the greatest white man that's ever lived. And he was. He was. All right? Because Columbus did this. Before Columbus, we didn't have to worry about white people. All right? People that was over here in the Americas that had to worry about him. Everybody was saving white folks until Columbus struck out. All right? And the reason why Columbus struck out is because some brothers from Africa, you know, talking a little bit too much, let them know they were traveling over here. Now, Columbus and his boys would not go about 5 miles past out in the Atlantic Ocean because they thought the world was flat. Okay? So we were protected from Columbus and the Europeans because they were engaged in a falsehood. All right? And because they was practicing this fallacy, they refused to go out into the Atlantic Ocean because they didn't know how far they were going till they fell off. Okay? So the world was safe, okay, as long as they was into their falsehood. Okay? It was only when they found the truth that they were set free to roam and kill everybody around the world.
Yeah.
All right? All right? Okay? All right, so therefore we begin to understand why white people realize the value of false beliefs.
That's right.
Okay? Which is what has killed black people. First of all, believing that the Son of God is blue-eyed and blonde hair. All right? Just like every church you go in New York, you got a blue-eyed, blonde-haired Jesus. All right? Which is the greatest and the most harmful of all false beliefs. All right? I mean, to have a Bible in the church that describes who Jesus is, and you paint a blue-eyed, blonde-haired, possible devil on your wall is the greatest of all false beliefs. That's right. All right? Right there. All right? I mean, for anybody to believe in that,
you have to be crazy.
You have to be crazy. Now, begin to understand this whole notion of false beliefs. Over the holidays, they were showing a nativity scene in Chinatown in New York. And the Chinaman was all dressed up and the whole bit, and they kept having this baby, but I couldn't ever see how this baby looked. You know, so I'm sitting at the tube for about 12 minutes trying to see, well, gee, I want to see how this baby looked. You know what I mean? So that's going to tell me everything about these Chinamen. All right? After 12 minutes, finally the camera showed this baby. It was a Chinese dog as Jesus. And I said, boy, I'm sure I'm glad they ain't coming to the black community. I mean, can you imagine what a nativity scene would have been in the black community?
Yeah.
A blue-eyed, blonde,
White man. That's right.
White dog.
Blue devil.
All right? Can you understand that? So when we began to understand about how to engage in critical thinking and analysis, the first thing that we have to do is to deal with these false beliefs. All right? And to give you an example of that, there are 3 or 4 major Supreme Court decisions. All of them lies. Every decision the Supreme Court ever written about black folk was a lie.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay? Now what white folks do is, after a while, they say, well, we're going to reverse this one because that lie wore out. So now we're going to put a new lie in its place.
In its place.
All right?
Bad.
Okay?
Yeah,
all right? So therefore, the first fallacy was that we were 3/5.
That's right. So you.
All right? That's a fallacy. Absolutely. I mean, anybody who believes that's true?
Yeah.
Please raise your hand right now. All right, now let's go to the next one. The next fallacy was no Negro has any right that a white man is bound to respect.
Yeah.
That's a fallacy.
Absolutely.
All right? That's Dred Scott.
Yeah.
The third fallacy was Plessy versus Ferguson, separate but equal.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That was in 1890. That was a fallacy.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right? Then the fourth fallacy was Brown versus Board of Education.
Yeah.
All right? When they decided Brown versus Board of Education, they said, well, separate but equal was a lie. So now, it's Brown versus Board of Education. And to begin to understand how we are not engaged in critical thinking and analysis, Brown versus Board of Education, the whole notion of integration. You know, the theory here is that the only way that black folks could learn was be around white people.
Teach, brother. Yeah. Yeah.
All right? I mean, just like all of the brothers that self-taught themselves, in 1800s.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And who became fluent.
Yeah.
And who even meant to taught white people, they somehow apparently developed this by osmosis because Brown said the only way you can learn something is be with white folks. All right? But when we began to look at this is a fallacy. All right? This is a fallacy. I mean, we all know it's a fallacy. I wasn't around white folks. I didn't go to school around white folks. I graduated high school and never was around white folks at all. Never talked about white folks. Never in the presence of white folks. I did all right.
Yeah, you're good.
All right?
All
right?
Good.
Around the same time, I did all right.
Yeah.
Okay? So obviously, this has to be a lie. All right? But this is why all of this is so important, because we are not engaged in critical thinking and analysis. Okay? The first thing that we need to know is, how did white folks arrive at that conclusion? A, Thurgood Marshall was not rap type. Now I know I'm busting some people's bubble. All right?
Yeah, go
All
ahead,
right?
bro. Teach, brother. Go ahead.
But let's deal with this. If Carter G. Woodson in the 1930s said that our power was the miseducation of the Negro, then what was Thurgood doing pushing this? I mean, if he had read Carter G. Woodson miseducating the Negro, he should have known better than this.
That's right.
You understand? All right. Now, when he went to South Carolina, he was in federal district court down there to show you how things are. Thurgood did not raise the issue of integration. That wasn't in their briefs. The white man sat on the bench and said, Marshall, I think you need to rephrase your question. And if you do rephrase your question, you might find yourself on a U.S. Supreme Court bench.
Uh-oh.
Because we have a future for y'all.
That's right.
Okay?
Go ahead, teach.
In integration.
Yeah.
And so, in order to arrive at this, what Kenneth Clark did, who was called upon, was to lie.
Yeah.
Because Kenneth Clark came into federal court and testified he gave the dog test to about 12 or 13 kids in South Carolina, and they preferred the white dog. Okay, the fact of the matter is that that wasn't a scientific test, and he knew it. Because before then, he had already went to Massachusetts, where blacks were going to school with whites, and gave them the dog test, and they preferred the white dog over the black dog. Then he went to Arkansas, where it was all black, gave them the dog test, and they preferred the black dog over the white dog. So why didn't he put that in evidence? Okay? Because the reason why is because what this country had in mind for us, integration. Where did that concept come from? You know where that concept comes from? No. It doesn't come out of the Constitution. There's no provision in the Constitution that has the term integration. The only time that the word integration comes up in the law at all as a concept is antitrust law. Okay? That's the only time that integration ever comes up. Integration deal with mergers. Okay? Integration deal with mergers. Now, what is one of the consequences of a merger? One of the consequences of a merger is that one of the two who has merged lose identity.
Yeah, that's
right.
Go ahead,
That's right.
Okay? Loss of identity.
Yeah.
That's the consequence of a merger. All right? U.S. Air acquires Piedmont. Piedmont is no longer heard from.
That's right.
All right? White folks acquire black folks. Black folks no longer heard from. All right? Okay? Loss of identity. Now, what kind of integration was it? We can break it down. Antitrust law. That's one of the greatest areas to study. They don't want you to study that area. I like to study stuff white folks that don't study.
Right.
Don't study.
That's right.
It's a vertical integration. Now remember, I just went back earlier and said, Calvin Coolidge said, the business of America is business. So if you go to white folks with a moral problem, they give you a business solution. All right? I mean, you cannot show me one case where black folk went into court and gave white folks a moral complaint and didn't get a business solution.
Good point.
Yeah.
You understand? See, you control the complaint. They control the remedy.
Yes. Yes, they do.
All right?
Yeah. Teach.
And it's the remedy that causes the problem. But you see, again, we're talking about critical thinking and analysis. See, when these things are happening and we're just sitting there watching it happen, then we're seeing our people wiped out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because other people are doing the thinking for us.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Other people are thinking for us, and we end up in this kind of a predicament. All right? Where the concept that we're dealing with now is strictly one of vertical integration, a loss of identity, and this is why our young people have lost their minds, and this is why that those of us who are saying that we got to develop our own knowledge of self, the man said, no, we got to wipe them out.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
Because you're working against their plan.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Their plan is to have you lose who you are.
That's
Yeah.
Okay? Because once you lose who you are, then you can no longer have any confidence in yourself or anybody else that look like you.
Make it clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right?
Teach, y'all.
All right? So this is what we're talking about when we're talking about having the ability to be able to reason and reason very seriously. All right? And this is the problem why law is a very dangerous instrument to be tampering with, and most Negroes have no business dealing with it.
Yeah.
All right? They have no business in it. I mean, just simple as that. Because you can easily wipe out a people by not knowing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay? You can easily wipe out a people by not knowing what you're doing. In the 1960s, again, we're talking about calling things by their right name. We said there was a civil rights movement. That's another lie. There's never been a civil rights movement in America.
That's right. That's right.
There's never been a civil rights movement in America. Never. That wasn't a civil rights movement. That was a consumer rights movement.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
That was a consumer rights movement.
Okay.
That was to give you access. That would give them access to your market.
That's right.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That was a consumer rights movement.
Yeah.
All right, now, it wasn't based on the 14th Amendment. It was based on the Commerce Clause. Check it out. 1964 Amendment was based on the Commerce Clause. Had nothing to do with civil rights. That's consumerism. That's commerce. You see, the beginning of wisdom is calling things by their right name.
Teach, brother.
Okay? That's why it's so dangerous for us to be speaking in an English language.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if we had a discussion here, if we open up this for a discussion, about 30 minutes into the discussion, we'll be fighting each other. And we'll be fighting each other because we can't handle the English language. Because it's the kind of language that invites fights. You have a conversation for about 30 minutes and everybody's getting mad and I'm not going to talk to you no more. You leave me alone. I won't see you no more. And blah, blah, blah. I mean, we've had all that, right?
Oh, yeah.
You cannot liberate yourself by speaking in the English tongue.
That's right.
Okay? Not only is it a very confusing language, okay, a hodgepodge. Not only is it very confusing, but in addition to being confusing, it is racist.
Yes.
Okay? But white folks are wordsmiths. Okay? They're wordsmiths. Okay? They sit down and craft language. All right? Now let's go back.
Yeah. Break it down.
1865. 1865.
Talk about it.
1863. This is the word that the man gave us. All right? 1863. Then the next, I mean, even today, you know, you start talking about, like I always say all the time, if you ever want to get in a fight with black folks, start talking about which white president was the best. All right? All right? I mean, if you want to lose your life right there, let's go into Philly and get on the corner and start arguing about white presidents. All right? You will not get off the block. All right? You won't get off the block. But now, we've already talked about integration. And we talk about white folks being wordsmiths. See, every time white people give you a word, it can throw you off track.
Yeah.
See, every time you hear a buzzword in the paper, you got to immediately go and start doing some heavy research on that word. Okay? I mean, that's how complicated this stuff is. I mean, if you are a serious reader of the paper, you can only get past one paragraph a day. Because that's how you be in your library researching that word.
Yeah.
All right? I'm serious.
Yeah.
All right? Really? All right? You can only get past one paragraph if you really know what the deal was. Okay? Now, these are two big words, right? I mean, these are two big words white folks always praise. Emancipation Proclamation, integration. All right?
Yeah.
Neither one of these words means freedom.
Good point.
Okay?
That's right. Yeah.
Neither one of these words means liberation. All right? Neither one of them. I mean, white folks haven't given you that word yet. Have you ever seen them use that word?
No.
Huh? In all the time? I mean, any civil rights document, whatever document, you ever said liberation?
No.
Huh? You ever see them use that word?
He'll fight you for you.
Huh? And don't they tell you something? Then they want to talk about we're free? I mean, how can you be free? He won't even use the word or allow you to use the word. All right? Now, when I saw this word, you see, I started looking all over the place, trying to figure out where this word came from. And I found its origin to be in antitrust law. Then I looked at this word. I asked people, I said, well, what does emancipation mean? They said, freedom, brother. It means freedom. All right? It doesn't mean freedom. It never has been freedom. Okay? That was the origin. But see, English is so dangerous because white people plagiarize in English. It's the only language where they pick a little from Rome, where they pick a little from France, Germany, and all the words around the world are put up in English. You start checking out the origin. It has no single origin. Okay, it's a hard part, like a quilt. It goes all over everywhere. Okay, everywhere. Okay, that is done for a purpose. Okay, so when they told you emancipation, they knew it did not mean freedom. They knew that. They knew where it came from when they gave that to us. Okay, this word here, emancipation, comes out of Rome. That's very illustrative for this reason. This word means
Transfer of ownership.
all right? That word means we just transfer your ownership. Okay? That's what emancipation means. It comes out of Rome. Because the deal is that, hey, at this stage, Mr. Confederate, see, you don't need to keep these people in chains no more. You already got their mind. This stuff ain't, the banking industry, the banking industry, and this comes straight out, many of them were Jewish bankers, German Jewish bankers, say, hey, you ain't got to keep chains on these people no more. Check out their mind. They ain't going nowhere. All right? So let's federalize them. All right? Let's put them under, let's make Uncle Sam their slave master. That's the 14th Amendment.
That's right.
Let's make them federal slaves. All right? So they passed the 14th Amendment to change your ownership from individual slave masters to the federal government. You see, as long as you was under Mr. Charlie's jurisdiction, you had no relationship to Uncle Sam. So you were just Mr. Charlie's property. Uncle Sam said, no, give them all to me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I can control them better than you can. All right?
Yeah.
So turn them over to me. All right? So let's have federal ownership of them. All right? Okay? So Uncle Sam said, well, let's pass the 14th Amendment. All right, which means then that there are only, and I'd rather use the word enslaved person, but what I want to do right now, I'm going to use the word slave. But I prefer to use the word enslaved. But just for simplicity, you know, sometimes when you see these three S's, you can remember it better. We've had three statuses in America. First of all, I'm just using slave, but let's try to remember enslaved. But these, all three of these, we're going to start with an S. So that's why I'm using slave at the moment.
Water for your brother.
Okay. Sharecropper. Which how much steel on. All right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody has a job today as a sharecropper.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right?
Yeah.
Okay? And this is where we all headed. Squatters. All right? That's where we all headed. Okay? You see, at this stage, when they told you to leave the plantation, okay, when they told you to leave the plantation, you were a squatter. You didn't have no land. I mean, you were calling somebody's property, you were trespassing. Am I right?
Yeah.
I mean, the white man said, all right, you go. Go where? Unless you got wings, you trespass. Am I right? And where are you going? Unless you have wings. All right, so therefore, if you don't want to be a squatter, then you have to be a sharecropper. And that's your opposite there. If you don't want to be homeless, you have to be a sharecropper. All right, so the only thing that changed was that they said, no, we don't need that no more. Okay, we don't need that. And they said, well, how do you know that? They said, because the Romans had the greatest slave system in the world. Okay? And in the Roman slave system, you could be bankers, you could be lawyers, you could be doctors, and you're still slaves. Which is what we have today. Over here. Okay? It's the Roman slave system in America. All right? So therefore, these are the only two relationships that are in existence at this particular time as a result of what happened. We're either sharecropping or we are squatters. But the one key thing to remember is that in all of these, we have no relationship to the land.
Good point.
All right?
Good teach, bro.
You understand? And that's our problem. Land. Because what if you're a slave or a sharecropper or a squatter, you have no relationship to land.
Yeah. That's it.
And that's the worst position that any human could be in. Where you have no legal relationship to land. All right? Which means that if you are a squatter or if you are a trespasser, then you open gate. I mean, you go to one of these white folks yard right now, and when they blow you away, see if that don't happen. Because trespassers are not protected. All right? Am I right?
That's right.
Okay? So therefore, we began to understand this. Then we began to understand why the real critical thinkers in our history on the shores of North America have been people like Elijah Muhammad and Marcus Garvey, Martin Delany, people who talked about land. All right?
Yeah.
All right, and those are people that the white man never let you study in his books. Okay? Because they were the ones that were talking about the central problem of black people. Okay? And that is the land question. Because no people who have no relationship to the earth have any reason to be on earth.
Who?
I mean, if you're a stray dog,
Yeah.
have you ever seen stray dogs? I mean, you begin to see that now. Get away from here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Good.
I mean, can you see it now?
Yeah.
Can you see what our people? Get away from here. You don't belong here. Get away from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh? That's a stray dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's where we have reduced ourselves to. All right, as a result of this. So these are some things in terms of critical thinking and analysis, you know, that you want to begin to deal with in terms of how we get out of this morass that we are in. All right? And as I said before, there's a lot that we have to begin to deal with. One, we have to understand the fact that we are victims of psychological warfare.
Yes. Right.
That all of the information that we have is false.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and that if we don't create information ourselves, it won't be created for us.
That's right.
All right? And
Yeah.
to the extent that we acquire positive, truthful information is to the extent that we're able to progress.
See.
You know, there was some book that I was reading, and they were talking about Jewish power. And they said, well, you know, really, Jewish power is not based on money and wealth. Okay? That's not Jewish, that's not the foundation for Jewish power. And I thought it was very good analysis. They said that information. They said that's what distinguishes them.
Information.
Is information. All right?
Yeah.
And you see, and when you look at the news media, okay, they're about 2% of the country and about 30% of the media.
More than that.
All right, at least 30, probably more.
Yeah,
Okay?
more.
All right, but it shows you how people understand how to control other people's minds.
Yeah.
See, you don't need large numbers of people if they are placed in strategic positions.
That's right.
Okay? Now, on top of this, see, why this is so important is when I began to look at Jews, I noticed one thing about them. They were in positions like they were attorneys, doctors, okay, teachers, teachers.
Oh,
All right, but you know what? Right. You know what the common thread was? They were counselors.
Yes. They set up the rule.
You understand?
Yes.
They advised the king.
Yes. Yes.
Okay? All right. See, they understand the power of counsel. You know, a lot of people say, well, why did they take your license? I said, the answer is simple. I was replacing Jews as counselors to blacks.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
They understand that. We don't.
Yeah.
You know, black folks don't understand why they would take your license. All right? I understood all along. Okay? I understood all along. You see, when their lawyers are told to go home because you have your own, then they start zeroing in on your own.
That's right.
Okay? And when your own is committed to you and not to them, then they got to be iced. It's simple as that. All right? Because as we said before, the only way that you can survive out here is to be a double agent.
Revelation. Go ahead, brother. That's right.
All right?
That is it.
That's the only way you can operate.
Don't care how.
All right? You know, you sit in your office,
Yeah.
people come in, you smile, you act like you're down with them,
Yeah.
and then you pick up the phone and tell white folks
What you do.
what they
Yeah.
said.
That's right.
Okay?
Right.
All right? That is what we are talking about. You know, these are the kinds of problems that we are caught up in. So whatever information we have, they have.
Yeah.
Okay? And people controlled by information.
Yeah.
If white people have figured out right now what's going to happen in 2050, in order for us to get past them, we got to figure out what's going to happen in 2100 at the same time. See, if that vision right now takes them to 2050, our vision got to take us to 2100.
Yeah.
See, that's what when the brother talked about strategic planning,
yes, sir.
that's what he was talking about. All right? Knowing what you're going to do day by day. Now, what happens is that we never sit down to plan the future.
Yeah.
All right? Now, white folks is sitting there trying to figure out what's going to happen in 2050, right? We're trying to figure out what happened in 1965 to Malcolm.
Yeah, yeah.
All right?
Wake us up.
All right?
Peace, brother. Go ahead.
So, you know, if you talk about what we got to deal with them, you got to be dealing with 2,100 right now. I mean, you got to be able to see right now where we're going to be in 2,100. Otherwise, we may well give up this ship.
Thank you.
All right? Because we're not going anywhere. We can't project our minds right now to go to 2,100. We may well give up right now.
That's right.
All right? We may well give up. We certainly can't be going back trying to figure out what happened 50 years ago. All right? So that's, we start talking about strategic planning. You know, that is the key. You know, let me say this. Because I don't make no bones about this. We've had some success at the slave theater. All right? But we've had success because of one thing, to the extent that we have.
That's right.
Hard work.
That's right.
Okay? All right? Now, I said to say this. I'm going to give you an example of what happens in our community, because we need to deal with all of these fallacies. We hold meetings on Wednesday nights. All right? I did not personally choose Wednesday night, but I take credit or blame for that because at all times I was the chairman of the organization. Okay, so whoever was planning Wednesday nights, I was the chairman of the organization, so I take responsibility for Wednesday nights. Now, there are some people in the city who says, man, he knew we were doing something on Wednesday nights. All right? He knew we were doing something on Wednesday night. I mean, why would he be doing something on Wednesday night and we were doing something on Wednesday night? All right? Now, some of these people are ministers. All right? Okay?
Well, you know that's what you
All right?
Yeah.
All right, now. All right? No, but I want to deal with it so we can understand something. You see, a person who makes that statement is not doing any critical thinking or analyzing. At all. At all.
Yeah.
Just by making a statement. You see what I'm saying? Because he said, well, why would you do something on Wednesday night? I'm already doing something on Wednesday night. Well, then, if we use that analogy, then why are you having church on Sunday? Because you weren't the first church in New York. All right? Why aren't you? Why did you start a church on Sunday? If one other person already had a church on Sunday. I mean, Abyssinia had a church on Sunday. You understand? Then why don't you all else be at Abyssinia? All right? Or why don't we be at Bethany? They were started before you were started.
Yeah, that's right.
You understand? Or Cornerstone, they were there before you were there. All right? So, you know, when you begin to, you know, I mean, and now what happens is this is the kind of thing to keep us divided. Because we're not thinking. All right? So now, you know, people call you, man, so-and-so said that you were low down. Why? Because you got a program going on Wednesday night, and you knew he was having a program going on Wednesday night. Hey, has he checked the census? There are 2 million Africans in New York. All right? 2 million Africans.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we supposed to do? Is supposed to be some kind of private enclave? Or are we going to be trying to spread the word? All right? If we're trying to spread the word, then obviously we need more than one spot.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
And we're trying to spread the word. All right? Now, we're just trying to make this our little domain. You understand? That's something different. All right? But the bottom line is there are 2 million people here. But you see, by us not being able to analyze collective data, just right up in the mouth. All right? And that's why most of our risk comes up. All right? First of all, it's just language, and there's nobody's doing any kind of thinking or analysis.
Yeah.
All right? And then we take off and throwing rocks at it. Nobody even thought about an appropriate analysis of the problem.
Yes, sir.
I'm not the problem. The problem is that 1,999,500 who are not going anywhere on Wednesday night. All right? The problem is as the world turns. And in living color. All right? All right?
That's right.
The Wednesday night fights. Right? All right? That's the problem. Am I right? Yeah. I'm not the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the real problem. If you got a problem, then why don't you go and start turning on television sets all over the city? Well, that's where everybody is. You know, why don't you go out over there and blow up a transmitter? Right. All right? You understand? All right? If you got a problem. But you see, this is what I'm saying, how we are not analyzing. We're going to war with stuff that shouldn't even be a war over. Because we're not doing any serious analysis at all. Okay? All right? And this is why we're warring with each other. We're not thinking. All right? And then those people who call themselves our leaders. Okay? Now that's a serious problem. Now, this is a serious problem. And I say this all the time. Right here in Philadelphia. Who are the Japanese leaders in Philly?
I don't know.
Huh?
They don't have it.
All right. Who are the Arab leaders? Who are the Arab
They
leaders?
don't have it.
All right. Who are the Korean leaders? Who are the Korean leaders?
You don't have them.
Huh? Who are the Chinese Chinese leaders?
Nobody.
Huh? Well, who are your leaders?
Oh, Lord.
All right.
Good.
Y'all give me a name. Y'all right? We're the only people who can answer that they're our leaders.
Yeah.
And they're not. All right? Now, people say, well, you know, I had to correct somebody saying the other night, they said, you know, Mr. Maddox is one of the great leaders. No, bro, I'm not a leader. All right? You know why I'm not a leader? No, I'm not a leader because ain't nobody going to follow me. All right? See, I'm going to tell you what leadership is. The Grand Rebbe in Crown Heights is a leader. All right? Now, he's a leader. All right, you know why he's a leader? Because when George Bush sent one of his followers a letter to go into the military, the Grand Rebbe can write on it, he's not going, send it back to Bush, and nothing happened. Huh? Ain't that a leader?
Yeah.
Huh? Ain't that a leader?
Yeah.
I mean, if you wrote Jesse,
You go to jail.
all right? So Jesse tells that to Mr. Bush that you wasn't going. All right? Jesse will come out and arrest you. Am I right? All right.
Don't tell me not to vote.
All right. But then how did Jesse become a leader? I mean, if he can't tell Mr. Bush that you're not going to the army because you following him, you are his followers. Huh? Then how did Jesse become a leader? I mean, why would you call people like that leaders? You see what I'm saying? You see how we butcher the language? Huh? You see how we butcher the language? See, the first thing we got to do is have a workshop for a month just on language. All right? I'm serious. That's the first thing we got to do. We got to first clean up our language. You know, it's amazing how, you know, people say, they'll say, well, you know, man, the police just came out here and arrested somebody. Well, how about police came out here and kidnapped somebody? Isn't that really what it is?
Yes, that's what it is.
I mean, if you're at your house at 2 o'clock in the morning, they bust down the door, put handcuffs on you, take you down to the precinct and keep you for 5 days, nobody can get in touch with you, you call that an arrest? But if you use the word arrest, you don't get upset over it, right? Huh? As long as you bind to their language, then you endorse your own demise.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right?
Yeah.
All right? But if you start realizing, hey, man, this is a kidnap, hey, I ain't been convicted of no crime. I mean, why can't y'all just come out, give me a letter saying, Mr. Maddox, will you please appear in court tomorrow on this charge? I walk in, plead not guilty, and go home. Huh? Why can't that happen? You have white folks all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, if you go down to Philadelphia criminal court right now, you won't see the white folks going before the bench.
No.
I know you won't see it in New York.
No, you ain't gonna see him here either.
All right? I know you don't see it here. So they ain't kidnapping white folks.
That's right.
One gonna be there sending
All
him
right?
to jail.
So, you see, so when they said, well, man, he gave me $1 million bail. How about $1 million ransom? Huh? How about $1 million ransom?
That's what it is.
All right? All right, but you see, we colonize ourselves by language alone. All right, most of our people have lost because they've been brainwashed.
That's right.
Okay? You
Yeah.
see,
That's right.
in war, see, the object of warfare is to never have to shoot a bullet. That's the object of warfare. See, they're working on something right now where they can defeat a people and never shoot a gun.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
Believe that.
You know, that's the object of warfare. You see, that's when you have really reduced it to the highest science. When you can just say, boom, surrender. All right? And everybody surrender. You understand? You don't shoot no weapon. Okay? Because the first element in any war.
Propaganda. Propaganda. There you go.
That's the first element.
Mm-hmm.
All right? The first element. People say, well, man, the white man not at war with us. I said, why? I don't see no tanks outside. They don't start war with tanks. All right? They start war with words.
That's right there.
Okay? When they got ready to go over to Iraq, they laid there for 4 months developing a vocabulary for Iraq. You understand?
Yes, they did.
They just laid 4 months to work out a vocabulary. All right? For Iraq. Where's your vocabulary? All right? We certainly can't use that. That's what we've been doing. We've been using integration, emancipation, and all that good stuff. Am I right?
Yeah.
All right? So what we're really doing tonight is just really an introduction in beginning to understand what are the barriers to critical thinking and analysis. That's the first thing you got to do is break down the barriers before you start getting engaging in that kind of thinking and in that kind of analysis. You know, just like, you know, when people go to school, I say, hey, somebody said, well, you know, man, I graduated Phi Beta Kappa. I feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean, Phi Beta Kappa?
Yeah.
That means that when you were asked who discovered America, you said Columbus.
Yeah.
Yes, you were.
Yeah.
When you were asked who freed the slaves, you said Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you said who never told a lie, you said George Washington. You understand? All right? You understand? All right, so I mean, that's what we're dealing with out here. You know, the greatest damage is being done to our children. All right? The greatest damage is being done to our children. And they have lost the battle by the time they're 3 years old.
That's right. That's right.
The white man has their minds by the age of 3. Lock, stock, and barrel.
That's Head Start.
All right? All right? So that's what we're dealing with. You know, so we got some real serious matters to really get involved with. But one of the things that the brother said tonight was, and this is important, there are 3 things that people must have. And you must have an organization. See? See, they're making, you know, white folk can call themselves Baptists, they can call themselves Methodists, they can call themselves Catholics, they can call themselves atheists, they all sit down at one table.
That's right.
You know why? Because they don't believe in but one thing.
White supremacy. That's right.
All right?
Yes, sir.
They can call themselves anything. Okay? But when they sit down at the table, the only thing that counts is that.
That's right.
All right?
Yeah.
That's the only thing that counts. That's their ideology.
Yeah.
Okay? And the more that a people are informed and organized, the stronger they are. That's what the bottom line is. And you see, we have not been allowed to have organizations. Okay? Because white folks set up our organization.
That's right.
Right.
Yes.
They set up the NAACP. They set up United Negro College Fund. They set up Howard University. They set up Morehouse. They set up Spelman. Okay? They set up everything we have.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right? And it's amazing to me, and I say this all the time, but I have never been to Egypt. In fact, I've never been to the motherland. I'm like Marcus Garvey. All right? All right? But you know, the thing that amazes me is the pyramid. Okay? And it's only $1 bill for a reason. Because the pyramid represents the science of organization. Okay? And no white person will leave home without it. Okay? All right? It's not just an architectural statue to them. It is organization. All right? And as you understand the pyramid, and if you look at any organization that the white man has built, it is built on the pyramid.
Right.
It has the shape of the pyramid.
Yes.
Whatever organization he puts together, it has the shape of the pyramid. If you go and look at the organization structure, from the workers to the middle managers to the people at the top, it always has the shape of the pyramid. Okay? That organization chart is always in the if it doesn't come out to be the pyramid, they raise the board. Start working again. They raise the board. All right? Because they understand organization. All right? Now, organization is not the same thing as unity. Okay? It's not the same thing. See, you know, we ask too much of each other. You know, well, man, I can walk with you, but we got to be down. We got to really be able to be married to each other. No, we don't need to be married. We just need to be organized. Unity is marriage. We don't need a marriage. We need organization. All right? Now, just one final point, because this is something that really bothers me, because this is something that's happening right now. I had to go away during Kwanzaa. However, as many of those of us in New York know, this year Kwanzaa was held at the Jacob Javits Center. All right? All right? Jacob Javits Center. That was Kwanzaa was held. All right? Now, this is very important, because you see, we got to be able to deal with this. The Jacob Javits Center only hired white folks.
That's right.
All right?
That's right.
All right? Yeah. Everything down there, plumbers, carpenters, you know, everything down there is white folks. Okay? Yeah. Now, after Kwanzaa was over with, do you know where white people wrote about Kwanzaa?
Wall Street Journal. Yeah. Next year's gonna be a big
Wall Street Journal. All right? I can get the exact issue, but I think I was down in Atlanta at the time, and you know, well, I buy the Wall Street Journal every day, because actually you have to read Cracker's business publications to really know where they're headed.
That's right.
All right? All right? So if you really want to know where white folks are headed, you have to read their business publications, and always try to read their British publication, if you can.
Yes.
All right? The British publication. Things like the Economist magazine. All right? See, white folks write more about us in British publications than they do in English, in American publications.
Yes.
All right? That's a fact. All right? So you really have to be the London Times, you know, the London Observer, the London Independent, all these papers, and Royal Geographical magazine, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? To really be up on top of these people. All right? But one of the papers you have to write every day is the Wall Street Journal. And they said that the Kwanzaa was the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Sliced bread.
All right?
Man.
All right? All right?
Oh, man.
They said the Kwanzaa is a banana. All right?
Yeah.
All right? And And they mentioned the Jacob Javits Center in the article. And said that Hallmark cards and J.C. Penney and all these folks are getting ready to set sites on Kwanzaa. Because they said that, hey, black folks buy more Kwanzaa stuff, they do Christmas stuff. Now we might be able to get white folks on Kwanzaa. And cut out troopers altogether. That's what the president said. All right? All right? All right? All right? We may cut out troopers altogether. With this Kwanzaa thing, I mean, this Kwanzaa thing has some great potential. All right? That's on the Wall Street Journal. No, this is about 10 days ago. I announced the date that it appeared in it. But you see, again, let's understand one thing. The business of America is business.
That's right. Yeah.
All right?
That's right.
All right?
Yeah.
The business of America is business. See, you can't forget that.
Yeah.
You understand? You can't, I don't care where you go, you got to go back to something that is tried and true. The business of America is business.
That's right.
Okay? That's what we're talking about here. So what they see is a new market.
That's right.
Okay? And under the new world order, Europeans must control all global markets.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's Star Trek.
All right?
It's Star Trek. They got the Enterprise, they ship.
All right? All right? They must control all markets. Now, if you want to see a big trade war, all right? Because that's what people really go to war over, trade. If you want to see a big trade war, then you try to protect yourself with Kwanzaa. Now, the question that we got to decide now is whether we are men and women enough to lay down our lives to defend our culture. Okay?
Yeah.
Or whether we just going to get rid of it
Where do you stand?
altogether or give it over to them. And it seems like from us going from the Bronx Community College to Jacob Javits Center that we are giving it to them on silver platter.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
So you got to ask yourself, why was that really going up to Jacob Javits Center?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay? You got to ask yourself that. You see, because when you can't control your culture, all right? You know, just like I was reading an article recently about Hawaiians, and they were saying that the hula was their culture. Okay? That was part of their culture. White man came in and commercialized it. All right? Had all of us hula hoopers. Huh? They had all of us. That was these people's culture. All right? They don't have no respect for your culture. If a dollar can be made out of it.
That's right.
All right?
Yeah.
So, you know, this whole Kwanzaa thing, that needs to be a national emergency meeting. Yes. On Kwanzaa right now.
That's right.
Okay? Right now. For people who are vending or whatever, in terms of Kwanzaa, they need to have a national meeting. Because, you know, one of the people that said that they get ready to control this market,
Jacob.
J.C. Penney. All right?
Toys R Us.
All right? Okay, now. And do you know who sits on the board of J.C. Penney? Vernon George.
Vernon George?
All right? Okay? All right? Now, just one final point on economics.
Take your time. Bad shape.
You see,
Bad shape.
our people got everything in reverse. In fact, my wife's grandmother bless her soul, when she was alive, said, if black people were birds, we'd be flying in reverse. All right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay? All right. All right, now. All right. Now, you see, when we go into business, we do it backwards. All right? Everybody has a business system except us. See, other people, they go into business, I don't care whoever it is, it's Korean, Japanese, Americans, whoever. You know what they do? They have a cartel. See, we would buy one little store on the corner of what's a favorite corner in Philly?
52nd Market.
52nd Market. All right. We'll get one store on the corner of 52nd Market and try to go up against their cartel. You understand? All right. What they understand is that, you see, when they can't use the word cartel because they say that's a bad word. All right. But you see, one thing. What happened when I was going to law school was this. One thing I always remember about white people. White people say, well, you know, there are certain things you can't do. You can't form a cartel, because that's against the law. You can't form a monopoly, you know what I mean? That's against the law, all right? All these things, right, they're against the law. That's exactly what white folks do.
Yeah.
All right? Now, we be in class, we the only one in the class believing this stuff. See, that's the reason why you be in the same class white folks and you come out different. You know, man, I was in there with these cats, how they make money, I'm not. You understand? You're in the same class with these cats. You sit on that University of Pennsylvania, the same class. And the professor said, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. And this is exactly what they do. And if somebody comes, if you went to a Negro like, no man, you can't form no cartel. That's against the law. You understand? You can't separate monopoly. That's against the law. This is exactly what white folks do. Exactly what they say you don't do is what they do. All right? So they go out and form a cartel, and they say, okay, I'm gonna take North Philly. You take West Philly, all right? Somebody else take South Philly. Somebody else take East Philly. You know what I mean? And then we break that up, all right? All right? And Gulfport, all right? All right? And we break that up, all right? Okay? That's how they do. I mean, you ever notice how whenever you see the Arabs, if they're in the grocery store business, they're in all the grocery stores? You look around one day, they've been everywhere. Hey, what happened? I mean, how do they just happen to, you know, you go to Korea, they everywhere. You know what I mean? If they the Indians, you know what I mean? If the Indians newsstands, they own all the newsstands. All right? All right? Because they don't start individually. You understand? They start, and 100 of them will come in and say, look, let's look at Philly. Let's divide up Philly. All right? This is you. This is me. This is somebody else. And boom, and they cooperate, and they deal. But you're confrontation. Man, why is he putting a store up in this neighborhood? He know I got a store over here. You understand? That's how we operate. All right? But he knows better. He won't put a store along with your store. And you ever notice, if you have one grocery store, it's only one grocery. If there's only one major grocery store, there's only one major grocery store in the community. There's never competition.
That's right.
All right?
That's right.
You know, you'll never see a Key Food on one side and a Red Apple on the other side.
Right.
Not in the black community. Okay? Because in the black community, it's all monopoly profit. You see? It's all monopoly. You'll never see them, because they sit down, carve it out, and say, look, you get a store here, nobody else will compete against you. You get a store here, nobody else will compete against you. You jack the price up here, I jack the price up over there, and we'll squeeze it for all they got. All right? And that's the bottom line. And if they get out of order, we got the muscle to back it up. All right? The only thing you got to do is chip in a couple of dollars, and we can take care of anybody. We got 10,000 strong. Somebody give us a problem, get somebody $20,000, get rid of them, and keep going. All right? And that's what we're talking about. All right, so therefore, you see, it was dangerous for us to deal with Kwanzaa in America and not realize it was getting ready to come to this.
That's right.
And not have the self-defense mechanism in place to protect ourselves.
That's right.
You understand? See, that's what we talk about critical thinking analysis again. All right, for us to start at Kwanzaa 20 years ago, all right, and now for J.C. Penney and Hallmark get ready to take it over, and we can't put up a toothpick against it. All right? Meaning that we ain't been doing no thinking. All right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you're talking about a market that's probably going to be $50 billion or more.
You're right. Much money we like to spend anyway.
All right? At a minimum. That's a conservative figure. I'm just throwing that at the top of my head. I'm sure it's bigger than that. All right? That's a conservative figure. So this is what we're talking about, how we are not engaged in this whole thing of critical thinking analysis because we're not dealing with information. We're not processing information. We're not analyzing information. We're not projecting into the future. If you start something today and you don't know where it's going to be 20 years from now, you shouldn't have started today. You just can't start something, hope it happens. It might happen, it will happen, it could happen. I don't know if it will happen, which is what we're doing. So we are constantly turning everything over, empowering people to do us in.
That's right.
All right? Because you see, let me say this. I may be wrong, but I suspect that Jews had more than one reason for having kosher food. All right, I suspect it has something to do more with dollars, or as much to do with dollars as it does with religion. Okay? But I can tell you this. Ain't nobody but a rabbi gonna control that kosher food.
That's right.
All right? Ain't nobody but a rabbi gonna control that kosher food.
That's right.
All right? But they're not going to create something and give it over to somebody else. They're not going to do that. You see? And so they understand the power because, you see, you're supposed to have something that's yours that your own people can feed off of.
Right.
Yes.
All right? You're supposed to have something that's yours that your own people can feed off of. That's what Kwanzaa was.
That's right.
Okay? Okay? All right? People spending 70-80% of their gift money in December.
That's right.
That's a big market for everybody. All right? That's a big market for everybody. You see? So that's what we're talking about tonight, that we got to have vision. All right, we got, like I said before, we can't be going back trying to figure out what happened in 1965. We got to know what's going to happen in the year 2000, the year 2010, the year 2050. And we got to be able to know that right now. Okay, otherwise we cannot compete. And we cannot be competitive. I want to thank ASCAP for inviting me and the United African
You can stand.
I just wanted to find out now, I would like to know what could we do to hold Kwanzaa for ourselves.
Okay, the lady would like to know what can we do to hold Kwanzaa for ourselves. All right. The first thing that people have to do to hold anything for themselves is to form an association for that purpose. All right. I mean, and that's not anything that is new. You know, so I'm not preaching something that is new everybody who wants to preserve something will form an association. You know, like you got the tobacco association, you got the oil association, you know. I mean, you got all of these associations. When you talk about OPEC, you know what I mean? I mean, so that's nothing new. But when you don't have that in place, okay, then you're always open to everybody coming and seizing what you have. And that's why when we don't put the cart before the horse, all right, then we always open up to that. You know, I mean, when I started practicing law, I was in legal service for the first 3 years, I told you, and then they said, you got to get out of here. And then I went down to the National Council of Black Lawyers. Now, the reason why I went to the National Council of Black Lawyers was because I realized that in order for me as a black lawyer to be aggressive out here, I needed in order for me to be aggressive, I needed an umbrella organization. Okay? All right? That's what we talk about, because you see, the world is full of risk. All right? For every risk, there has to be some form of insurance. Otherwise, you can't survive. But that's what you're talking about. You're talking about risk, and you're talking about insurance for those risks. I mean, so if there's a risk in having Kwanzaa, then you got to have an insurance for Kwanzaa. And we operate without insurance. All right? So when I went to NCBL, I wanted to try to make that into a tight organization where if anything happened, all of the black lawyers would come swarming down and say, hey, we got your back. Okay? Or if something happened to some other black lawyer, we would do the same thing. All right? But you see, the reason why these organizations could not get off is because white folks were involved in them. Okay? All right? Even the National Council of Black Lawyers. All right? White folks were involved. Now, what happened? NCBL is no more than a shadow of itself at this very moment. All right? Now, I'll give you an example in New York. I'm facing disciplinary charges. Vernon Mason is facing disciplinary charges. Michael Warren is facing disciplinary charges. But because there's no black organization, Michael Warren is being represented by the Center for Constitutional Rights, white organization. Vernon Mason is being represented by the Center for Constitutional Rights, white organization, constantly. Okay? Now, that means that we have no black insurance for black lawyers. And, I mean, they may not agree with me, but I believe that if white folks end up representing me, then there got to be a quid pro quo. Just like I believe if white folks represent anybody, there got to be a quid pro quo. You see what I'm saying? So, the mere fact that even as lawyers or doctors or whoever, that we just start a profession and don't start an umbrella organization that will provide insurance for the risk that we're going to incur in that profession, you know, I mean, is the height of stupidity. You know, I mean, you know, you have to ask yourself, how intelligent can these people be when we are the most oppressed people in the world, we're the most endangered people in the world. If there's anybody that needs insurance, it's us, and we don't want to operate out here without insurance. All right? Which is the same thing with Kwanzaa. You know, we don't understand the fact that everything has to be backed up by something. That you can't put a program out there unless you got some kind of a body to back it up. You see, one thing about other people is this. A lot of people say, well, why, you know, during the 60s, a lot of us knew about the Nation of Islam. You know, we saw the brothers in bow ties and all of that. But a lot of us would not join the Nation of Islam. You know the reason why we wouldn't join the Nation of Islam? Had nothing to do with the religion. Had nothing to do with religion. You know what it had something to do with? It had something to do with internal autonomy. We don't want to be policed by each other. All right? We don't want to be policed by each other. All right, now, let me give you an example. I I'll put my life on it tonight in Philadelphia. If we could get the 911 records here of who are the most frequent users of 911, it'll be the black community. That's when they come out and shoot us. Because other people can police themselves. I mean, the mere fact you call 911 means you can't police yourself. You understand? All right, that means that you already done told. I mean, when they take them records out every night, they know where we are with the 911 records. That alone tell them where we are.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
They know all the 911 calls are coming out of Black Philly. All right?
Yeah.
All right? See, so we don't want to deal with internal autonomy. We don't want other black people to tell us, all right, how we should behave. Okay? So that's the reason why we're not in Islam. That's why we don't form trade associations. That's why we don't do none of that. All right? Because you see, let me say one other thing. You know, all right, I believe that one of the key questions in terms of our liberation is the land question, right?
Yeah.
But you know what? That's not our primary problem. You know what our primary problem is? The most immediate problem is that self-government.
That's really true.
All right? You see, we don't have to ask white folks permission to form a government. You can form a government tonight. And be down with defending it. All right? We can appoint a Minister of Defense, all right? A Secretary of State, all of that tonight. All right? Black folks can do that and have their government in place. Have your ambassadors to every country in place. Collect your revenue and do your whole 9 yards. Because if we go into land, how we go into land, we can't even govern ourselves.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I mean, let's say they gave us 5 states tomorrow. What would it mean? Huh? And you don't need to be on no land to form a government.
That's right.
All right, you can do that right now. All right? See, that's what we're talking about. You know, we're talking about this is why we can't protect Kwanzaa, because we won't form a government to protect Kwanzaa. All right? If they knew we had a government around this country, know we stuck with our government, then they wouldn't be on our back. I mean, you know, there's no law that says you got to be in the U.S. Congress. That got to be your only government. I mean, the worst thing that ever happened to us was the 1965 Civil Rights Act. Okay? The worst thing. All right? That was the worst thing. Lyndon Johnson knew what he was doing. All right? You know, Nicholas, man, Lyndon Johnson, one of the greatest presidents we ever had.
Yes, sir.
Man, for Lyndon Johnson, we wouldn't have got the 64 Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. Well, you got all that in the 1860s. All right, they told you could vote in the 15th Amendment. So why'd you need a statute 100-some years later? If you got a constitutional right, why did you need a statutory right? Am I right? If the Constitution is the highest form of law, and you got that with the 15th Amendment, then why did you need the Civil Rights Act of 65? If you got the public accommodation law passed right after the Civil War, then why did you need the 1964 public accommodation law when you already had one? If you were a citizen, why did you need all of this?
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, isn't it strange if you are a citizen, you're the only one got to have a Civil Rights Act passed every 2 or 3 years? I mean, you know, every 2 or 3 years, I mean, like, I think it can ready to expire next year sometime, you know? I mean, niggas be, man, I hope they pass that, I hope they renew that Civil Rights law. I mean, can you imagine somebody like that? Huh? mean, you know, y'all heard this, you know, people get on radio, man, they may not be doing this time. I heard so and so, man, he had to change your heart. I mean, it's sick. I mean, you know,
That's right, brother.
it's just that bad, you know what I mean? I mean, this stuff is hilarious out here.
Others in the back. Gentlemen. Yeah, you. Sorry.
Mayor, I have to put these things here. But look, fund these print jobs, pageant like everything else?
Well, I mean, it certainly can be. You know, let me just say this. I'm making an observation as an observer, okay? You know, and, you know, certainly people who are there need to do something. I'm just a messenger. You know, I mean, I just see something on the horizon. I mean, I'm reading all these financial publications, you know, and I know where white folks are headed, you know what I mean? And I'm just sounding the alarm. All right? Yeah, you know, but our people, you know, let me put it like this. The New World Order means, in the same thing, controlling markets around the world. Okay? You know, let me give you an example. You know, a lot of people, and some of you are going to get this, because I wrote this in an article this month, our newsletter. You know, when you talk about the black appointments, all right? Ron Brown, Jocelyn Elders, Vernon Jordan, as Mike Epstein, okay, all these people. Now, the most lucrative lobby, one of the most lucrative lobbies in America, all right, is the tobacco industry. Okay? And if you look at these appointments have nothing to do with black people. All right? Vernon Jordan sits on RJR and Nabisco's board. RJR and Nabisco has a large cigarette industry worldwide. Okay? Vernon Jordan's partner, law partner, a partner in crime, is Robert Strauss. Robert Strauss is the former head of the Democratic National Committee. Okay? Now, isn't it strange that a Republican president would send the former head of the Democratic Party to Russia? Huh? I mean, you know, like, isn't that, you know, for those of us who think there's a difference between Democrats and Republicans, man, that drives you nuts. You know what I mean? I mean, for those of us who think that there's a difference, man, you know, that's the kind of stuff you stay up all night trying to figure out. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? All right, you try to figure, all right? All right, now. Mike Epstein has always been the farmer's best friend. And I'm not talking about small farmers. I'm talking about these mega corporate farms that control food today. All right? So a little man cannot grow food today, or a little woman. All right? You can't grow food today. If you're not a part of a corporation, they control all of that. All right? All right, they control all that. So Robert Strauss hooked up with Vernon Jordan, went to Russia because Russia needed cigarettes. They were having a nicotine fit in Russia. Okay? And Strauss went over there representing the tobacco industry. All right? And cut a deal that will supply Russia with cigarettes from here on in. That was profitable to RJR and Nabisco and to Philip Morris, which is the largest cigarette manufacturer. Now, what also happens is that the tobacco industry has always controlled the National Urban League.
Thank you, thank you. Yes.
All right?
Yes.
Okay?
It's a
All
white
right?
organization.
All right, now,
Yes, sir.
some of you, I know I probably know this, some of you who went to school like around Morehouse and those schools know that black college students went to Connecticut every summer. All right? All right? Okay, you did. Okay? Now, that was arranged by the National Urban League. Okay? And the reason why that happened was because in World War I, when whites were going out to fight the war, there was no labor, and so the tobacco industry contacted the Urban League to get blacks to come up to Connecticut to pick tobacco. Okay? So they've always, so the tobacco industry and the Urban League has always been close, which is why Vernon Jordan and Ron Brown, who were both part of the Urban League, is now part of the administration to protect, in part, tobacco industry. Tobacco interests.
Oh, yeah.
All right? So we begin, so that's why you begin to see all of these hookups, okay, in terms of our relationship. There is no Negro politician in America who's not financed by the tobacco industry. Okay? Now check this out. You know, I always say that. Let me throw this in real quick. Anytime black people are made head of in a cabinet position, we in trouble.
Yes, yes.
All right?
He's there for a reason.
All right? Now let's check this out.
Yes.
The first cabinet position they made blacks members of was housing, right? And now we're homeless.
Yeah, all right. Good, man.
All right?
Yeah.
Now, Sullivan, they made him head of Health and Human Services, right?
Yeah.
Now we got AIDS.
Hey, that's right.
All right? Now, I would suggest all of you store your food because by having empathy over agriculture, that means we get ready to starve. All right?
Yeah.
I'm just talking about the real deal. I mean, this is real.
Yeah.
This is real. They put a Negro over housing, and we lose our homes.
Yes, sir.
Then they put a Negro over health, and we get bad health. Now we got one on agriculture.
Yeah.
All right?
We have starved. We
All right? That means we get ready to starve. All right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is just real. This is reality. Okay? This is what we're dealing with. So what I'm saying is that we begin to see how all of these various factions interplay, okay, to create all of these funny interests. And that's the reason why, for example, Charlie Rangel is over drugs. Right?
Over drugs.
Yeah, he's head of the subcommittee on narcotics.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Harlem is flooded with drugs.
Yeah. Wilson Good
Right.
was over the left.
Okay.
That's where we came
All
towards
right.
our building.
And if you check Charlie's his financial disclosure statement,
Yes.
one of the biggest contributors is the tobacco industry.
Yeah.
Now he's against narcotics.
Yeah.
He's one of the biggest receivers of narcotics funds.
Yeah.
I mean, you see what I'm saying? I mean, that's what we deal with out here. All right? But you see, again, we don't have no think tanks. All right?
Yeah.
See, we don't have no think tanks. See, I mean, white folks would not operate without think tanks. I mean, they got a think tank on every corner.
Yeah.
I mean, they got think tanks that, I mean, I ain't even heard of it before. You know what I mean? I buy people all around the country, and I mean, these think tanks are just popping out there. All right? We don't even have the first one yet. Where's our think tank?
Yo,
All right? All right? Before
Nathan Hale had one.
what you call it went into, Clinton went into office, the first thing he did was set up a think tank. The Public Policy Institute. Okay? Now, everybody that's associated with the Public Policy Institute is white, though. See, because slaves don't formulate policy. You know, house Negroes don't formulate policy. You know that, don't you? All right?
No, he won't follow policy.
I mean, you know, we have a black mayor in New York, but he doesn't formulate policy.
That's it. That's right.
Okay? He doesn't formulate policy. So, you know, this is what we're talking about in terms of how we get ready to control something. Yes, we can try to control something, but until we begin to understand these principles, other people don't have no problem with this. That's why they can protect that. If they had a Kwanzaa, they would protect it. Oh yeah, they would protect it because, you see, in their own communities, they take care of themselves. See, just like over there in the Hasidim community, they don't call the cops. All right, they take care of their own. All right, that's why, you see, that's why they can go to the police precinct and whip the police, because they don't ask for the police. You understand? All right? You see, the more that you call the police, it demonstrates the weaker that you are. Because you shouldn't be calling the police at all.
That's right.
All right, and not because, it has nothing to do with it because they're racist. It has something to do with your own self-respect and your own self-esteem. That's what it has something to do with. That's right. When you got to call the police on anybody, it demonstrates your own lack of respect and self-esteem.
Yeah.
Two more questions. Okay. Good. Brother in the back and then the sister. Oh yeah, good, yes. You up first and then she.
Yeah, earlier in the presentation, you put forth 3 issues that you really emphasized. One was ideology, education, and organization. And my concern is this. In the process of Africans organizing, the CIA, the FBI, they implement the COINTELPRO program. And my concern is how will we deal with this in the future? I mean, regardless of what we talk about, Kwanzaa or whatever, anything that Africans seem to organize, they put the intelligence forces out through the forms of informers, agent provocateurs, and things of that nature. Would you please address that?
Sure. All right. Give you one example. The only community that Roy Ennis could operate in is ours. All right? I mean, we make it easy. You see, the problem again is we don't have an internal police force, brother. All right? I mean, that's our problem. We don't have an internal police force. I mean, the mere fact that these Toms can just parade around like peacocks.
Go ahead. Yeah.
All right? And nothing happens. All right?
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean? That's the problem right there. We're the only community that would happen in. The only community.
Traitors allowed to walk free.
All right? Because everybody else understands their own identity. You see, the problem with people like Vernon George, Ron Brown, and those is that they have thrown away their racial identity.
Yes.
All right? They've thrown away their racial identity, man. They don't want to be related to us. I mean, they just want to use us. Okay? You know what I mean? And we allow that. I mean, we allow Vernon George, okay, to be out there doing that. I mean, just like, this cat is a member of the Bohemian Club. All right? And you know what? I mean, and these are rich white men who go off in the woods and do freakish things. Now, see, that's what the Bohemian Club is.
Yeah.
That's what the Bohemian Club is.
The Bohemian.
All right? They go out in the woods and do freakish things. All right? And Vernon George is a member of that. He's up there with it. He gave a keynote address last year.
Oh, good.
All right?
I know he
To the
would.
Bohemian Club. And then we let him come back and say, well, he won our lease.
Yeah. And know he's going to set it straight.
You know what I mean?
He's right there
so,
with card.
I mean, that's the problem.
Yeah.
There's 2 questions. Sister there,
Okay.
but can I take a prerogative for a minute?
Uh-huh.
If you were to develop an intelligence report, which is a part of military strategy, which is a part of the whole thing, what are the elements necessary so that we're clear of what are we looking at and what we have to do to make sure we're looking at what we're looking at?
Sure. Well, the key elements, one is you got to know the demographics. Like, for example, in 91, when we had the whole thing with Gavin Cato, okay? And and we had a meeting. Everybody was mad. Everybody was mad as a result of Gavin Cato. Everybody was mad with the Hasidim community. All right? And I said then, I said, look, what's going to happen is that our madness is going to go into amnesia. Okay? And then we ain't going to remember this no more. All right? And I said, white folks going to be talking about this from years on end. Let me give you an example, and I'm gonna ask you a question through this. About 5 or 6 weeks after Gavin Cato, hey, as far as we were concerned, it was over. And you can tell that by turning on radio. When you turn on our radio station, we were talking about the ballet. You know what I mean? Or the Christmas party. You know what I mean? Or anything that was mad. I mean, white folks were beating the drum, the war drum. All right? If you go to New York tonight and turn on white radio, they beating the war drum. Okay, about Crown Heights. All right? So, you know, like we said, man, I don't want to hear that no more. And then we got our man said, man, LIB is a hate radio. You know what I mean? We got to do something about it. You know what I mean? He came out in the paper today and said that we got to do something about LIB. And, you know, in other words, anytime we have to do something about white folks, right? And he said we got to do something about Bob Grant, but Negroes just can't say we got to do something about Bob Grant. We got to always throw us in too. You know what I mean? Yeah, white folks is a problem, but then Negroes are a problem too. All right? All right? So today he said, yeah, WABC is a problem, but WLIB is a problem too. And this Negro owns some stock in LIB. All right, so he's going to get his own station. All right? Just to try to halfway, you know what I mean, do that thing. Now, the point is that the reason why we haven't been able to do anything about Crown Heights is because we don't have a profile of Crown Heights. Okay? We don't know where they're hooked up to. We don't know anything about their source of revenue. We don't even know where the Hasidim came from necessarily. We don't even know really why they're over here in Crown Heights. We don't know the CIA connections, all right, that exist in that community. We really don't even know anything about their beliefs, or whether they have any beliefs or not. You know what I mean? I mean, when you begin to do it, if you're going to deal with a person that you perceive as your enemy, then you got to know their beliefs, their culture. You got to know something about their religion. You got to know something about their strength. You got to know whether they got allies, where those allies are. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you would have to hook up. So when we could not sit down and hook that up, the ball game was over with. All right? Because we weren't doing nothing but running our mouths. Right. All right? Up there. Because we had no intentions of going somewhere and doing a profile of the Hasidim community. No. And what were their strengths outside, and what kind of propaganda could we engage in against them. All right? And then also, we also didn't have our own people in check. Okay? Because the Negro politicians control that area, but they control us in that area. So you have 10% of the population controlling 100% of the resources, including us. So when you talk about an intelligence report, I mean, that's very critical, you know, but it has to be a total breakdown. I mean, like right now, they know everything about us, all right, because they study us, okay, everything. I mean, like, see, the difference between us and them is we'll listen to Bob Grant, which is a racist station, and then just sort of say something, you know, like negative, well, you know, Bob is a dog or whatever. But white folks measure the anger in your community on a daily basis. How was it today? Was it 90% today? Was it 100%? You know what I mean? They go over those tapes, you know what I mean? And they measure. Well, and they also know, well, how long does it take for them to forget? You see what I'm saying? See, they go through all of that, you know what I mean? They record and document and study and analyze. All right, you know, and you know, you're right. That's critical analysis. So they know. Some people they can tell you, look, 6 weeks they'll be back singing nursery rhymes. All right, business is huge because they've already studied us before. Okay, and we are not studying them. Okay, we are not recording.
That's it.
All right, we are not recording. All right, and then when we do record, we're not analyzing what we are recording. Right.
One more question, the sister back there, Dr. Henry.
Would you speak on the underlying significance of humanitarian aid that's going to Somalia and the resurgence of aggression against Saddam Hussein?
Yeah. Let me just say this. One of the things, when you begin to look at Somalia and look at Liberia and look at the other countries that have these droughts.
Thank you.
Where you have to go to for that information, you have to go to the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, and the Bank of Settlements. Bank of International Settlements. All right, you see, let me give you an example. Because it's very simple when you think about it. Somalia had defaulted on its loans. Okay? Its debt ratio, okay, is out of line with its ability to repay its debts. All right? That's what happened to Somalia. See, you know, one of the things that white people do is, wherever they are dealing, the first thing they're going to do is corrupt the leadership. Okay? And they only deal with corrupt leadership. Okay? All right? You got to be corrupt first. Okay? Or you have to have a tendency to get corrupt and get corrupt fast. Okay? All right? Because he's not going to deal with you any other way. Okay? Other than to know that you are engaged in some vice. Because you see, the number one game with white people against any of us is this. Addiction. Okay? All right? That's the first thing they got to do. They don't care whether it's a drug addiction. It could be a white woman addiction.
Thank you.
All right?
Yeah.
All right? You know what I mean? I think it could be, you know, it could be a money, it could be anything. You know what I mean? But the one thing they got to do is to know that this clown has an addiction. Okay? They only deal with addicts. All right?
Yeah.
All right, that's all they deal with. I mean, it's just bottom line. You know what I mean? I mean, I study white folks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, I mean, that's the reality. You got to know them. And once you know them, then you can deal with them. You can predict them if you know them. All right? If you really know them. So the first thing they're going to do is to deal with this. All right? Now, give you an example. Let's say that you're in Philly. You own a house. You can't make your mortgage payment. What happened?
Take it from you.
And try to make the money.
The marshal comes in and take over the property, right? Huh? At gunpoint. They have a gun and a bag. Well, that's what happened to Somalia.
Yes.
All right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't think they're going to loan you money, you can't pay it back, and they're going to come in and take it?
Yes.
They got, you know, I mean, that's repossession.
Yeah.
Now, you know, obviously, you know, the white man, by engaging in what we call deception, which is an element of a military science, would say, well, we're going in for, well, first of all, starve everybody, and then say we're going in for humanitarian purposes. All right? You understand? All right? I mean, it's the same thing. So what they're doing in Somalia, what they would do here, white earth would come out to your property. I mean, they had one of the crackers the other day in Somalia said, well, hey, we let them know the white earth is in town now. That's what he was quoted saying. White earth is here. And that's what happened. When the marshal comes out, we gain the property. You can't borrow money and not pay it back. All right? Somalia had a debt problem. All right? And the people never benefited because the people that were ruling the country were addicts. You know what happens when you put drug addicts in hand or something? That's probably our community.
Yeah.
Negro leadership is addicts.
Yeah.
Huh? You want to know what happened? Your leaders. Addicts.
Yeah.
You understand? Your leaders. That's why white men deal with them. Because they're addicts.
Right.
You know our leaders. Man, why don't our leaders do something about this?
Our government.
All right? Yeah. All right?
Right.
All right? Our leaders. I hear they go use the word our. All right? I'm serious. I hate to hear that. All right? All right, now, let's go back to the other. Saddam Hussein. Pretty much the same situation. Pretty much the same situation. You see, Bush was voted out of office. Oh, you hear this? Bush was voted out of office
July 1990.
That's when Bush was voted out of office. All right? That's when Bush was voted out of office. All right? They held an election in July of 1990, and Bush was voted out of office. All right? Now, Bush, however, is no Clinton. All right? I mean, Clinton just outright flunked it. All right? I mean, I would have rather had Bush in office than Clinton. All right? Personally. All right? Because you think that you got it wrong bad now, you wait till Clinton get through with you. All right? All right? All right? You know, y'all think that you think that Bush was bad. You wait till Clinton get through with you.
That's right. Teach.
All right, but then, you know, but you see, you know, see how they get us here. They say, well, let's engage some propaganda. They said, wait, man, did you know Clinton had a baby by a black woman? He must be all right. I mean, that's how you Negro mind is. You understand? All right? You understand? He must be all right. All right, you understand? I mean, you know, like Negro talking about, man, we integrated now. You integrated on a plantation. That was the problem, integration. You understand? I mean, anytime they could bring your woman up to the big house and do what they want, how much more integration do you need? You understand? All right, now. So they voted him out of office in July 1990. Because you can't elect the president anyway. You know that, don't you? I mean, anybody here think that you, under the Constitution, you can't elect the president. You know that, don't you? Huh? All right? You understand? You know that. You cannot elect a president. All right? I don't care how many votes you give it. All right? They're not going to let you elect the president. I mean, you know, it's amazing, nigga. We can vote now. That ought to tell you that voting don't mean nothing. In fact, you can vote. I mean, that ought to tell you something. I mean, that's the first tip off to me. I just told you in 1965 still right, what they ever happened. All right, now. See, there's a ruling class of men who control the world. All right? And they don't have national boundaries. You see, they're like, you know, what they'll do, they'll finance both sides. They'll be with the Nazis, and they'll be with whoever. You understand? See, they don't have no problem with national boundaries. See, they give that to you. All right? They're in the money game. So they don't have an allegiance to no country. None of it mean that to them. All right? See, they sit high, and none of this stuff mean anything. America, Britain, France, Germany, none of that crap. All right? That's just a mess for you. You know what I mean? That stuff y'all get caught up on. You know what I mean? We were fighting the Germans. You know, and Kennedy was financing Hitler. All right, your beloved president, John F. Kennedy, his daddy was financing Hitler. All right, because you know, I mean that's the bottom line. So what happened was they did not like the way the bond market was operating. Okay, because you see, this deficit thing is something that needs to be explained at some point in great detail. I mean, that's a lecture to itself. All right? But the one thing that you always have to understand here is the bond market. Okay? Now, every year, as you know, they put a bond issue on the ballot, right? You should always vote no to every bond. All right? You should never vote yes for any bond. Because you know what bond means? Bondage. All right? All right? That's what bond means, bondage. All right? So, you know, so therefore, this is the market that always continues slavery. The bond market. So you always have to study the bond market. See, every day when you wake up, you got to study the bond market. All right? To know, you know, how far slavery is going each day. Now, this is serious. All right? So, all of the bondholders, slaveholders, had a meeting. And they didn't like the way the bond market operated because, you know, if interest rates go up or down, it fluctuates, it affects profits. Okay? You see, like someday you said the interest rate went up. They're trying to drive the interest rates down. You know what I mean? Well, you see, people hold bonds, that affect their profit. So if you can't manage that market and manipulate that market, then these guys who loan all this money is losing money. Okay? So they didn't like the way that Bush was controlling the bond market. So all of these central bankers, see, the Federal Reserve Board, the Dunes Bank, you know, all these banks, all these different countries come together. So they like the way the United States is operating. You all right? And so they had a meeting. They said, look, Bush got to go. All right, he was with Reagan, and, you know, they didn't clean this mess up. Now he done had this term, he ain't cleaned this mess up, so we got to get rid of it. Okay, now, but Bush got some juice of his own. I mean, you know, Bush ain't just no chump. All right? You know, he got his own boys. All right? So, you know, and I like Clinton, you know, who's just an outright flunky. I mean, Clinton got less of a family background than I do. All right? All right? I mean, but Bush is, you know, he's blue blood. Out of Connecticut, went to all the right schools, you know, father was a senator, you know what I mean? The whole 9 yards. So he got his own connection, CIA, you know what I mean? He got his boys. So Bush said, hey, I got to make an end run around this. All right, Bush, I can't give this bad boy up. You know what I mean? I got to make an end run. All right, so Bush said, hey, what's happening over there in the Middle East? What, Hussein, is he got a lot of military hardware over there? Let's lure Hussein into Kuwait. All right? All right? And after we lure Hussein into Kuwait, then let's go to war on Hussein. That's why Hussein said, well, I went, y'all didn't tell me not to go in there.
That's right.
All right?
That's right. Yeah.
All right? Hussein said, y'all didn't tell me not to go in there. So I went to y'all and checked on this. He said, well, y'all didn't tell me. But see, Bush was dealing with these bondholders. So Bush said, hey, I got to make my end run. You understand? Because that's what we're talking about over here. All right? So that's why the United States got caught up into that. But see, still, when it ended up, the bondholders said, hey, you still got to go. Still got to go. And so what they did, they controlled the media. All right, they manipulated the media, they projected him in a certain way. When all of this stuff came from Clinton, they said, hey, don't worry about it. You understand? All right? Because Bush was too much of his own person. All right? And did not have to take them orders. I mean, like, you know, Bush could stand up and say, well, hey, I will delay the loan guarantees to Israel. Clinton can't say that. You understand? All right? He can't say that. All right? You understand? So that's what we're talking about, you know, when we get into this. But this is a whole new discussion of its own. But at some point, you need to really study the bond market. You need to understand how it operates. And you need to look at institutional investors all around the world and how they come together to finance these governments around the world. Because you see, you're talking about investment bankers, you know, like Solomon Brothers, you know, Goldman Sachs, all of these investment bankers that have financed governments. Okay, that finance government, because when you were talking about this kind of stuff, that's what we're talking about. bond, because you see, governments are just like us, just like black folks. Neither one of us manufacture anything. All right? We don't have a toothpick factory. The United States doesn't have a toothpick factory. All right? And we always had to go out and borrow money from somebody else. All right? That's how the government operates. Okay? Same thing. So when you start talking about these wars, anytime that there's a war, it's because something's happening right here.
That's right.
Let's give Alton a hand for